Okay, part 6. This is the presentation. This is what it's all about. This is where we've already talked about the philosophy of the relationship, the philosophy of the student, the philosophy of the instructor. We talked about the equipment and the classroom. We talked about all that stuff. Now it's what? This is actually you are now not. This is actually you are now physically standing, and you're now getting ready to go. This is game time. There we go. Let's talk about the introduction first. 6.1. The presentation is the tool you use to transfer knowledge to the student, to inspire them, and to change their lives. The first few minutes of a presentation are critical. That's the hardest part. It's getting started. And that's the thing. And that's why we do all this preparation, get everything together so there are no distractions. You're not overwhelmed. You're not stressed. You're not frustrated. You've talked to the people in the classroom. You're comfortable with your material. You're nervous, right? The adrenaline is picking you up a little bit. You're starting to focus in. You're starting to zoom into what you're looking for. You're starting to get ready to go. And we want to just get it right. And this is where practice and practice and practice. Visualization. The night before, look at your slides and think, okay, but I don't like the way that word is. Now I want to move that slide over there. Okay, I see it. Yeah, okay, I know exactly what I'm going to do. And so we want to soften the strangeness of the moment. Well, you can do that a lot by simply meeting people in advance. We want to diffuse the students' defenses by just being a little playful in the introduction. Just kind of, tease them a little bit. Slice through the natural reluctance to expose feelings and emotions. People are sitting back, but, if you got a chance to meet them before the class started, you've really solved a lot of your introduction tension, because the introduction started with the uncomfortableness before the class started. When you started talking to people, then they started, I know that guy. Hey, you're a baseball fan, whatever it is, you kind of develop that. So the introduction starts an hour before you actually do the actual physical introduction. Continuing on. Before the students arrive, set out a flyer that it contains a detailed outline of what they can expect. That means what? The beginning. Here's what we're doing. Be sure it contains a biography of you and your interests so that they can better relate to you. Oh, you do mountain biking? Oh, you're a barefoot water skier? Well, I used to water ski. I tried barefoot water skiing once, but I'll tell you what, I only tried it one time. And say, oh, you like this baseball team? You like this sport? Oh, you have children? I have children. You got grandkids? Oh, I got grandkids. Oh, you didn't finish high school? I didn't finish high school. Oh, you lived in South, you were born in Washington, D.C.? Oh, so you give them some information that they can connect at some level, and you show them like you're a real person. I don't like a biography that's like, well, I went to this university, and I did this. No, we're talking about you as a person. And also, obviously, you have credentials, a master electrician, whatever it is that you might be, so they know that, you come there and you're prepared. Remember, you're the instructor. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. You're there. Just take care of them. Meet and greet students before the class begins and during the break times. That's how you soften it. Let your students know up front you're delighted to have them. Somebody said, we had breakfast this morning. I don't know if you guys caught that. Before we were sitting down at the restaurant, and the woman came in, and she said something to us, and it made an immediate connection between me and her. I can't remember what the word was. It wasn't like you'd normally expect, well, good morning, how are you doing today? I'm glad you're here. It was something a little bit different that she said that I thought, it made it friendly. It made it like, oh, we're going to have it's going to be a nice relationship having the breakfast and getting the service we're going to get from you. So, I don't think I do this. I don't know how I do it, and I think I need to work on this. And I think I need to do a better job of simply saying, listen, I'm very excited to be here, and I want to thank you for having the opportunity to have me here to be able to provide whatever information I can for you. So you're showing them, thank you. You know what I mean? I'm up front. I'm excited to be here. Brian?
Well, I think this is something that you don't realize you do, because I can tell you, as somebody that sits in your seminars, when you go in and start meeting and greeting people in the morning, you have a smile on your face, you're shaking hands, and you're like, man, we're going to have a great time today. I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited to have you here. So you actually do it, and I think because you're not watching it happen, you don't realize it, but it will take people that are dragging in on a Friday morning because they have to go to a CEU course and just brightens them right up, and you'll see them just engage immediately in the process.
Okay, well, thank you. You're there, so you know more what's going on. Okay, so I'm doing it, not standing in the stage doing it.
Right.
I started my introduction at 6:30 in the morning.
You got it.
Okay, that's good to know. Tell them right off the bat, I've been looking forward to this moment. I'm excited to be here. When I do tell them that, maybe not necessarily on the stage, I tell them that in the beginning. All right. Make friends using eye contact, move on to another face, lock in, read the reaction, and continue. As you're saying this, Brian, I can see I'm doing all of that while I'm not standing in front of the class. But I think if you didn't do that and you're coming in, and sometimes you could be coming in as a speaker, I can't imagine, but it could be a time you come in as a speaker and you had none of that. Well, now you have to do what? Now you got to do all of this while you're standing on a platform. Hey, I'm happy to be here, making the eye contact, looking for friends inside here, trying to make that kind of a connection. But that's a lot harder doing it from the stage than it is before you get started. Keep making friends by speaking in a way that comes easily and naturally for you. So just keep looking for eye contacts that's going to work with you. All right, so continuing on the introduction, not the introduction of this particular part, but the introduction with the student, the introduction of the class, get people involved. Ask a simple question regarding traffic, meaning, location, etc. Sometimes you get there and you're like, man, it's going to snow tonight. I hope I can get on my plane and get out of here before the blizzard comes in. And they're all like, man, I hope you can. So we kind of like loosen it up a little bit there. Don't force them to make an introduction at the beginning of the class. I'm not into where you have a class of 20 or 30 people. Okay, I want everybody to stand up starting in the first row on the left-hand side. Stand up, tell me your name, tell me what you do, and tell me why you're here. And I'm like, I will do that probably after lunch. People got a chance to talk, get relaxed in the class. Hey, guys, just have some conversation. But I never like to make anybody feel uncomfortable.
Well, the other thing you have to be really careful on that, and why one of the reasons that I don't see myself ever doing that is I need to know my pace and my time, and once I put it in somebody else's hands, if the first guy wants to stand up and give us his whole life story, it's hard for me to tell him to shut up. Even though I might want to,
and you ask
knowing
them to
that
stand
the
up.
next person is going to now think that they have to do the same thing.
That's a good point.
So to me, I want to keep it under my hat.
You can't control how long it's going to take.
Exactly, and I have to.
I like that point. I would agree. I wouldn't force them. Maybe I'd recommend that you don't do the introductions. If somebody wants to get to know somebody because they saw a guy ask questions, they seem to have something commonality, they're adults. They can go talk to the guy.
Right.
I like that point. Okay. Continuing on introduction, focus on the student who shows the most interest. Transmit feelings to him or her with a friendly icon. In other words, we're trying to start this uncomfortable setting, but I think introducing yourself and getting a relationship before really eliminates 6.1.
Yeah.
I'll hold this conversation. And this is already done before you even stand and you talk to somebody. Let the student know that he or she is important and begin to build a relationship. I probably need to change that. When you meet the student before the class, these are all the things that you want to do before you meet the student, not when you stand up. So we'll change the text to reflect that. Keep making friends by speaking in a way that comes easily and naturally. Okay, I'm going to do that before the class starts. You'll be warmed up in no time, and your students won't be far behind. Okay, I'll do that before the class. All right, let's talk about breaks. Schedule breaks in advance so students can organize their lives. And don't wait until somebody shouts out, hey, how about a break? Then you realize, okay, that's like here when you're mountain biking or you're in a sport, once you think you're thirsty, well, it's too late. You should have been drinking before you're thirsty. So somebody say, hey, how about a break? It's a little late, your break. You don't wait till somebody tells you it's a problem because it's already a problem. Have a timer to alert you that it's time for a scheduled break. When we talk about that handheld device, Ryan, that automatically goes off in an hour and 75 minutes, whatever the case may be. All right, continuing on breaks. When you call a break, tell them a specific return time and start promptly. Use a PowerPoint countdown timer, and we're going to talk about that when we're getting into the PowerPoint section of this program and show you how to create a PowerPoint timer with video, with photos, with questions. We'll make it very interactive. So don't look at your watch to schedule a break. In other words, what you don't want to do is have your watch on and you're talking and you're trying to be diligent. You're trying to remember all these things right at the same time. Try to body contact. Okay, look at the person. Okay, make sure you get 1,000 things you're trying to do at one time, and you're like, okay, okay. And then, so you're trying to make sure one look at your wrist to me already distracts me.
Yep.
One time in the day, it creates some kind of awareness in me that I'm not sure what it does to me, so you will never wear a watch. You will take it off, you will set it down in front of you, and you're going to set it in a way so you're not like, and then, so you're leaving it. What I do is I put it right on my laptop, so when I'm looking down at my laptop, I'm looking at my time, I'm getting my notes here, I see what time, what slide number I should be at, what time point, I realize, okay, you better pick it up, buddy. Stop it with the stories, okay? I back there. Don't look at your watch. Take it off and lay it by your laptop. Better yet, have a timer, and that's going to be no, they have some timing devices that you can set up and you can see the countdown that works. It doesn't work for me, so I'm not sure better yet. I know at 9:15 I take a break. You know what I mean? I know at 10:45 I take a break. Eric?
Yeah, I've done some sessions where I've had a document camera, and that's pretty cool because I can put a timer or a watch right on the platform of the document camera, and it shows up on the screen. It's pretty cool.
Okay. Oh, good idea.
Yeah, and one of the things that I like to do is if there's a clock that's common in the room that everybody can see, I like to point at it and say, look, when that clock says 6:18, I will start speaking. You know, and I always use an obscure number. When I say 15-minute break, I do 16 or 14. Because when you say take 15 minutes, that just means, oh, see you whenever. If you say 14 or you say 16, that means that's how long it's going to be.
That means you're not using a countdown timer.
No, exactly. You're right. And
Right.
that means there's not a...
We're going to talk
right.
I'll talk about a countdown timer, and I'll show you one possibly right here, just to show you what it looks like. So here's what a countdown timer would look like. So while it would be playing, let's say for a lunch break, it's counting down. And I use this tremendously in the class because I'm out there talking to people. I'm busy, and I turn around and I look in the room when I'm outside the room and say, oh, okay, let me go down here, a little further down here. Okay, I see, okay, I got 13 minutes. So I got time for you to talk. And I look down and a little while, I'm like, oh, there's 9 minutes remaining. Oh, okay. And then all of a sudden I start seeing it. And I probably should change the background when I get down below 5 minutes, let's say. So instead of being blue, it's become yellow. You know what I mean? And maybe when I get down to 3 minutes, maybe have that go into red. Well, here we go. Here's a red. So if you have that, it doesn't matter what time you take a break. You start that countdown. Now, all the way on the top, I'll show you how this thing can work on your countdown timer, which we're going to get into tomorrow, is, okay, you're going to start it. It's a 30-minute. Starts at 30 minutes. 20 minutes, 15 minutes breaks, you have some control. So we'll play with this tomorrow. So what you were describing is because you didn't use the countdown. So we're working together here. All right, let's move on. I schedule breaks. I let the people know in advance. I give a printout, and I'll tell them what it's going to be. It works great if it's 8 to 5. The problem is that sometimes it's 8 to 4 or 8 to 4:30. It's not a half-hour lunch break. Then I have to go in and say, okay, guys, then I got to go in and I got to make the adjustment, and then I tell them, listen, it's not 9:15, it's going to be 9:10, it's not 10:45, but I tell them. And I say, look, there's a reason why I have a fixed break. This is not my nature to do this. I want to just go until I feel it's a break time. The advantage of going with this, that gives me my 75-minute, lecture time, and 15-minute break. We get that pace. We keep that pace. The advantage is I got to go to the bathroom. Oh, okay, I know what time it is, 9:15, I go to the bathroom. I got to call that guy back. I got to take a medication. I got to do something. Not a problem. 9:15. They know for a fact, hey, listen, do me a favor. Joe, all right, listen, I'm in the class here. Listen, do me a favor. Call me at 10:45, right? Because at 10:45, what? We have a break.
Yep.
All right, listen, you're going to have to give me a call. Tell you what, call me at 2:15. So they have a lot of control. And I tell people, listen, if you don't remind me about the break, you're screwed. It's your job to remind me. But I like what you guys did. You're saying, hey, we got a handheld device. That little buzzes. Well, then that even, you guys are taking me to the next level by giving me a tool that I wasn't aware of. Start back on time after break. It's easy. Timer's there. It helps you schedule it right down. What do you do if you get questions as you're starting to get back after break? It's amazing that you're just getting ready to get back. And for some reason, that's when they will ask you a question. And I'm like, look, all I can tell you is that, I got to get going because I'm starting. The thing is, we're going to get going right now. Get with me at the next break, at the lunch. It's too late. We're going to have to get with you. I can't stop the class because you decided to ask me a question. During break time, I use the break time as that feedback. When we talked about getting participation, I get the break time as people coming up asking me, well, Mike, you said this? And I'm like, whoa, but what about this and what about that? Hey, I got a question. It's unrelated to what you're doing there. Can you tell me how we handle this or how we handle that? And in that particular case, I write it down. I hardly ever answer a question at break. I write it down. When the class gets back, hey, guys, listen, we had 4 questions that come up. 2 were not related to what we're talking about, but I want to get it. I think it's something you get. Now, I think nobody else needs to know this. I'll answer your question. But if it's a question that's generic, I say, got it. I want to cover that when we get back in class. So I use that as my feedback system. Let students know you'll be available after class to answer questions individually. So, that's not a problem. I'm there after class. Don't schedule anything that will infringe on this time. So don't schedule something after class. Now, I did do that when I was in, Pennsylvania, wherever it was, at the show for the swimming pool contractors. I was leaving the next day, and there's a blizzard coming in. This may have been I don't know where. I was in the Northeast. I'm like, oh, man, a blizzard. And I knew if I get caught by that blizzard, I wasn't leaving for a couple days. I switched my flight. I told them, listen, the seminar is going from 8 to 4, not 8 to 5. I'm discounting the price because it's not your fault. Okay, it's my fault. But I'm catching my flight tonight if I possibly can, because if not, I'm going to be here for 2 more days. And so other than extenuating circumstances, I make sure I don't do anything that night so I can be relaxed to be there to help the students. 6.3, create conflict. What I mean by create conflict, I'm not sure if that's the best word. We'll have to see if that works out, is to bring up an issue will get them started. I want to get you thinking. I'm not asking you a question. I'm not telling you something. But somewhere in the class, I'm getting your thoughts. And sometimes I do that with the graphics. Sometimes the graphic has something I know people are going to go nuts about. Or I'll say something that I know that 90% of the guys will go nuts about that. Say, well, of course, you can do this. And then I go on, and they're like, you see the tension, you see the stress, like, whoa, hold on, Mike, whoa, go back to that. You said this. I'm like, oh, what? Do you have a question with that? So trying to get that blood going and get that energy going inside. Something to make them stand up and take notice. Add interesting known facts and a countdown timer. I haven't done that, but think about this, Ryan. You're taking an hour lunch break, and you might start at 12:07, 11:48 because of the way it works out. You start your countdown timer. That's an opportunity for you to communicate things to them. You can give them a little information, a little trivia question. Like you go to a movie early, hey, who was the actor that did this? And we're all sitting there. It's kind of entertaining. It's kind of enjoying to see something in there. So you could get you can get information and develop a relationship. And I tell you, I'm terrible on my countdown timer. Mine's too basic, and it could be a lot more. Now, what I should do is give more information about how to get information. So that's little known facts. Did you know that 2 ground rods could have whatever?
10 million ohms of resistance.
10 ohms resistance, and that would be okay? Yeah. Or what's the minimum? You can even ask questions that would generate some interest in them, and then you give the answer next to that. And that's just kind of fun. Be careful that your strategy doesn't snowball into confrontation. Now, those of you that are watching this DVD, you're only seeing the part that we've established that we want you to see. All right, so let's assume we have a 6-hour DVD. Well, it's probably taken us about 10 or 12 hours to actually physical studio time, they get a 6-hour DVD, so you're not seeing it. But even in this recording time, those that are watching the live stream sees it, sometimes I get a little cute. I said, let me try something. And then I pop up something, and all of a sudden, it just snowballs. And so I'm thinking I'm doing something kind of good. So you got to be careful that whenever you're going to do anything in class, it has to be planned in advance. It has to be part of your strategy. You can try it. There's nothing wrong with trying something. But you do have the risk of like, that was not what I was looking to accomplish. Now, I messed that up. And you lose some time. So just be careful when you play the cute games of getting people kind of engaged. Hey, it's just curiosity. You guys know what size wire you run to a 1 horsepower motor, 120 volts? Just curious, you know. And then you do that in the PowerPoint. And then the PowerPoint slide shows what? How you size this, what code rule, kind of takes them through it. Did you think it was 12 gauge wire? Did you think it, so you can play with that.